Paternally inherited IGF2 mutation and growth restriction. The phenotype affects only family members who have inherited the variant through paternal transmission, a finding that is consistent with the maternal imprinting status of IGF2. The severe growth restriction in affected family members suggests that IGF2 affects postnatal growth in addition to prenatal growth.
Intrauterine growth restriction. The growth of the fetus is abnormally slow. When born, the baby appears too small, considering its dates. Intrauterine growth restriction is associated with increased risk of medical illness and death in the newborn. Intrauterine growth restriction is also referred to as intrauterine growth retardation.
Definitions. IGF2 is preferentially expressed in early embryonic and fetal development and in a wide variety of somatic tissues. IGF2 is present in circulation and can be detected in plasma, with circulating IGF2 levels highest in the fetal circulation. IGF2 is imprinted and is expressed exclusively from the paternal allele, except in adult liver and central nervous system, where it is expressed biallelically. Pros and cons. Pros. They still can live, they have a therapy to increase muscle mass, and they can grow by eating a lot. Cons. There is no treatment available, can cause death, can cause intrauterine growth restriction, and can cause Russell-Silver syndrome.
The fetus has an amazing ability to adapt to uteroplacental insufficiency. Unless it is very prolonged and severe, it will not ultimately cause permanent damage to the unborn baby. Sometimes uteroplacental insufficiency leads to a condition called IUGR. That's called intrauterine growth retardation, where the baby doesn't grow and have the size that is expected at a particular gestational age. Intrauterine growth retardation babies are particularly vulnerable to stresses of labor. They don't have the stamina, the ability to withstand distress that a normal full-term fetus has. So it's really important to know when you have a IUGR baby, because the management may well change.
Application in medicine. Russell-Silver syndrome. It is a disorder characterized by slow growth before and after birth. The paternally inherited copy of the IC1 region often has too few methyl groups attached. Hypomethylation of the IC1 region leads to a loss of IGF2 gene activity and increased activity of the H19 gene in many tissues. A lot of IGF2 gene activity, which normally promotes growth.
My name is James Connor. When I was born, I weighed 2 pounds 6 ounces. I was born with a condition known as Russell-Silver syndrome. Eating food and maintaining or even growing in weight is very difficult. I had a feeding tube until I was in 8th grade. Growing up, my siblings and my friends were growing bigger and bigger, and I was just staying the same size. My biological dad didn't really want anything to do with me, and he left. Friends and people at school just really overlooked and underestimated me a lot. I grew up in a home where there was drug abuse and a lot of fighting with my mom and dad. I think when I was a junior, I decided to take all of the difficult things that life had handed to me and I made the choice to turn them around. With I Think, I travel around the country and tell students my story. I love speaking with I Think. Last year, I had the amazing privilege of speaking to over 150,000 students. You have the choice to think bigger for your life.
In Ecuador, there have been some cases with IGF2 problems. That is why Ecuador recognized the importance of the prenatal ultrasound.
Hi, my name is Dana and this is my daughter Alyssa. And she was diagnosed with Russell-Silver syndrome about the time she was 9 months old. We began our journey for diagnosis when she was first born at 2 pounds, 8 ounces at 35 weeks, and it took us 9 months to get a diagnosis. This is my friend Verena and her daughter Nina. And Nina was diagnosed at birth, and she is now 11 months old. And we were very fortunate to find support and a doctor who had heard of Russell-Silver syndrome, who had more than 1 or 2 patients that had Russell-Silver syndrome. Since it was so rare, it's difficult to find a physician, and we were just often looking repeatedly for that one doctor who could point us in the right direction.
Nina has severe motility issues and reflux, so we're working every day to resolve and make it better for her with medicine, but mostly it's just getting used to the diagnosis and what comes with it, and she's happy as can be.
In general, children born with Russell-Silver syndrome are usually born small for gestational age or at 5 pounds and approximately 8 ounces or less. They can also be SGA or small for gestational age in length as well. In addition to the small birth weight, the low birth weight, and the initial short stature, they usually have lots of difficulty feeding. Like Nina, they can have delayed gastric emptying and reflux. The physical characteristics are often easy to spot for a trained eye. They have small triangular shaped faces, like Alyssa does, that lessen with age. You probably noticed that Nina's face is considerably more triangular shaped than Alyssa's. They have low set ears. Their 5th fingers can be inturned. It's called clinodactyly. They may have synodactyly in their toes, meaning their second toe is kind of webbed towards their first one. They also have a small chin occasionally and small mouths with a high, narrow arched palate. Often what distinguishes them from regular SGA children who do not catch up is that they can have some asymmetry. They may have one side that is shorter or smaller than the other. It's most often noticed in a shorter leg or a shorter arm. Occasionally, in Alyssa's case, she has one eye that is smaller than the other one, and if she holds her fingers together, she has one finger that's a little bit shorter on the same side of her body. The prognosis is excellent. Early on, the most important thing we've learned is how important it is to get these children enough food. If they don't take in enough calories, they simply can't grow to their highest potential. So the first issue that we encounter is finding a way to get in enough calories, whether that's with speech therapy to increase their muscle mass in their mouth and kind of help them exercise so that they can feed properly with the bottle, and then as they age, when they're toddlers, trying new textures of food and overcoming those gut dysmotility problems like delayed gastric emptying and reflux that we spoke about earlier. Once they're beyond that and they're into their toddler years, growth hormone is very effective in treating Russell-Silver syndrome. It can be difficult. The incident rate right now for the diagnosis of Russell-Silver syndrome is somewhere between 175,000 to 1 in 100,000 live births. And an average doctor may have a handful of Russell Silver patients that they see in their whole career. So you can imagine going to the doctor and no one understanding why your child is so small. They're proportionate, they're happy, they're healthy. Usually they're a little bit thin and their weight can be a problem, but it's often very difficult to diagnose because they are so proportionate and they're just like tiny little miniature people.
I found Magic on the internet. We self-diagnosed Nina due to her asymmetry. It was so severe that I knew there was something going on. So I did Google it, and back came Magic's website, which was later on